Welcome to Lesson 11, Part 1. We're going to try and answer the question, what happens to matter when it is burned? So, if we think about what we did in Lesson 10, we analyzed trends in McKenna's weight and height, and we looked at images of weight loss over time. Remember, we saw that the tissue that seems to be disappearing is our fat tissue. Then we read an article that says when kids lose weight, fat is being burned. We wondered if this is the same burning as when we light something on fire. We lit different types of fat on fire and saw that they seemed to disappear too. Remember, we saw that change in mass. If we now claim that some of the stuff produced by this chemical reaction of burning escaped into the air during the burn, then what could we do as we burn the foods to capture those products and examine them more closely? So remember, we have reactants, the things that go into the chemical reaction, and we have products, the things that come out. So, how could we capture whatever's coming out? So, some ideas. We could try and trap the air around the thing we are burning in some kind of container. But we also need to make sure that we can seal the bag or the container so nothing can get in or out of the system. We can try and catch that air. All right, on your lesson 11 lab sheet, we're going to start with part 1, burning fat in an open and closed system. So we have this chart and we're going to have two systems. So first we have an open system. So we're going to label that in system 1. So you want to label this open system. And that means it's a system that's open to the air. And then we have our system 2 closed system. So that's going to be our system where we can trap whatever air is produced. So make sure that you write open system, closed system. All right, let's look at what else is on this data table. We're going to mask the entire system before the burn. We're going to mask the entire system after the burn. And then we're going to make some observations. So let's start setting up our systems. We're starting with two candle holders with vegetable oil and wicks already in them. So there's our two setups. We're going to set them on the balance and we're going to zero it. That means make it 0 before we set the candle holder on there. And then we're going to mask the tea candle holder, that's the little metal dish, the oil, and the wick. And we will record this initial mass of the open system in our data tables. So check that mass on the screen right now and record that in your data table. Remember, this is system 1, mass of the entire system before the burn. Next, we're going to light the wick and we're going to set a timer for about a minute and a half. And we'll leave this open system on the balance and just let it burn. And then we're going to record the final mass of that open system. All right, so let's watch the video and you're focusing on that mass on the scale as it burns. And we're also going to make some observations. So make sure you jot down some things you see as it burns. Make sure you are watching that scale. All right, let's record our final mass of the entire system after the burn. Read the mass on the scale. And then record any observations that you made, at least one or two things of the flame or what happened to the numbers on the scale. So pause and record your observations. All right, part two. So remember, our second system is our closed system. So we're going to take that second tea candle holder and we're going to tape it on the lid of a container. We're going to light the wick. We're then going to put the top of the container over the candle and seal the system. So we're going to have the candle inside a sealed container. We're then going to mask the entire container, vegetable oil, burning, candle holder, etc. And then we're going to record the initial mass of the closed system on our data table. And we're going to leave that balance right on the or leave the container right on the balance. So hopefully you can kind of picture that. And then let's look at the video and we'll make some observations. So we're going to watch the video and record our observations, especially what the container looks like at the end. So we're going to get the mass of the system before. We're going to read that on the scale at the start of the video. You're going to watch the video, make observations of what you see in the container, and then record the mass at the end. So there's my candle going inside the sealed container, and the container is going on the balance. So 400.31. Watch the candle and watch the balance. All right, look at the walls of the container. What do you see on the inside walls of the container? So record your entire system after the burn. If you need to, rewind the video to catch that. And then make sure your observations include how long the candle burned and what you saw on the inside of that container. All right, your table should now be filled in. You should have the mass of the system before the burn and after the burn for both open system and closed system, and you should have your additional observations. All right, you're going to need a sheet of notebook paper, and you want to answer these three questions on that notebook paper. Yes, I want complete sentences. When you are done, you are going to staple your sheet of notebook paper to the back of your Lesson 11 lab sheet. So here's your questions. Number one, when burning the fat, why did the mass of the closed system remain stable? That means it didn't change, while the mass of the open system changed. Number two, why did the flame in the closed system go out so much sooner than the one in the open system? What do you know about flames and burning that might help you answer that question? And three, what did you see on the sides of the closed system container walls when the burn was done? What do you think that substance might be?